we have Aquarius. So for Aquarians, we have the first week in November. I'm covering up until the 9th. First couple of days, there's not really much going on. It's just, trailing over from October. We have, on the 6th, the Sun enters Scorpio, the sign of Scorpio, trining with Neptune in Pisces. That's in your 10th and your 2nd house. I would say this is going to push like a lot more visibility on you. 10th house is your reputation. The 2nd house is your values. You're going to get really... You're going to want to really be a lot more free with the things that you value. It's going to push you to be, I think, maybe a little impulsive with your possessions. Maybe very, very creative and very kind of almost, I want to say, there may be a tendency to overlook certain practical details. So I would say this is a good time for you to act very responsibly at your job or your workplace, because there's going to be a lot of eyes on you. For some reason, there's something to do with your reputation. This is a good opportunity to really work hard, act responsibly, try to avoid being I want to say, I guess arrogant would be the word. This is a good opportunity to be recognized at work. So you want to really show off and really put out your best foot. Be the best version of yourself. Let your good side, show off in that way. Then on the 7th, we have Uranus in Aries. It has been in Taurus since the beginning of the year. It's going through a little retrograde phase until March. And that enters into your 3rd house, which is your house of communications. So I would say there's going to be this desire kind of really welling up in you to be able to express yourself freely, to communicate freely. Maybe feeling like people are possibly kind of picking at your words or kind of squelching you or kind of restricting how you express yourself. That may end up push you to kind of push back a little bit. Maybe stir up some controversy, or conflict in a conversation. So just beware that's going to be coming in. It also may push you to look back and kind of consider and revisit this period back in 2011 when Uranus was first in Aries. It kind of pushed a lot of more fiery, kind of hot-headed kind of rebellion and defiance to authority, that kind of thing. So take a look back then and see if there's anything you learned about expressing yourself. If there's anything you learned about being able to be free to communicate with the people that you want to communicate with. Also on the 7th, we have a new moon in Scorpio, again in your 10th house. I would say be wary of your emotions, as they may kind of push you to, I don't know, I don't want to say the wrong thing, but maybe expressing yourself fully in situations where that doesn't really help and may end up being triggering to other people, that sort of thing. So be wary. Maybe this is a good time on that new moon to write down and express those deeper kind of feelings on paper, and to save it for later when you feel like you might be more tactful, I guess. I don't know how else to say that. But here, on the 9th, we have Jupiter entering in Sagittarius in your 11th house, which is a very, very, very good sign for you to expand your passions for others, your kind of philanthropy, or like your missions to aid, society, communities around you, creating stability and equality in the communities around you. This is also a possible period for you to have a lot of financial gains, because in your 11th house, I feel like this really reflects your teacher side of yourself. Jupiter's in Sagittarius, which is kind of like this wise teacher, the archer, the wisdom. There's also travel, I think, suggested here for Jupiter in Sagittarius. Definitely some travel. But yeah, I would say a very good sign for you, Aquarius, given that you're a very communicator and an intellectual. You love to work with social reform, equality, democracy, that sort of thing. And with an expansion in your 11th house with Jupiter, I feel like this is going to be a good time for you. This is all the way up until December too. Jupiter is going to be in Sagittarius until December of next year. So this is a good year plus a couple of days period for you to take advantage of. Also on the 9th, last event here, last transit, is Venus in Libra trining with Mars in Aquarius. Mars in Aquarius, I feel like this is going to really allow you to communicate and share these desires and goals that you have in a way that's really going to make people want to give that to you. They're going to want to help fulfill those kind of desires for you. So maybe this is a time to ask for the things that you want in a very direct way, because it may end up happening really easily. With Venus in Libra, I feel like this is in your 9th house. There may be this feeling of progress, transmutation of like these maybe like basically how your big picture perspective on things, your kind of life philosophy has really been grounded in maybe past experiences and trauma and things, kind of like the shadow side of things, has pushed you to have a passion for the things that you have a passion for. And I think this is going to really help you see equality and beauty in the people around you. In your relationships, I think this is going to want you to focus on how exactly your partner is helping you and supporting these causes that you have. Maybe there's going to be a focus on time that you spend with each other, resources that you spend on each other. There's this focus on fairness. Since Venus is in retrograde, if you're single, this is probably not a good time to be beginning or initiating relationships until it goes direct on the 16th. But it's still, I would say this is a good time for you to really visualize, keep track of the things that you want in a partner. Since this is in your 9th house, maybe take a look at what your big picture, purpose, your life purpose is as a result of the experiences that you've been through. How has that driven you? And what do you think that's going to make you fit or match to in terms of your partners? So maybe keep track of that, and that will really help so that when the opportunity comes, you'll know how to recognize it, basically. So I'm going to pull a couple cards for you to see if there's any messages from Spirit regarding this week, and then we'll wrap up. The owl again. Interesting. Second time I've seen the owl today. Okay, so there's something about this situation for you this week that's going to really allow you to see through kind of these deceptions, through falseness. There's this idea of like, almost like, what is it called? Claire, I can't remember what it's called, but basically the ability to just know things, to know what the truth is about this. I feel like use that to your advantage with some, I guess you could say, some level of tact, but still. Message here is, I think to, in your outer circle, maybe at work, to recognize what the truth is of the situation. Sometimes these, the way that people can come at you, sometimes you might be caught off guard and become emotional, maybe be triggered, maybe think what these people are saying is true, maybe take it very seriously. But in reality, when you consider what the truth is in these situations, many times in social situations, the truth of the situation is just that people are are sensitive. People have their own reasons for doing the things that they do. It's not always about you. I don't mean that in like a, I don't care about you. I just mean like their issues aren't your issues. When it comes to the skunk, I would say this is saying about asserting yourself without an ego side coming out. Just being like I guess you could say like a very firm boundary, but without needing to go past that and to lash out. Just knowing who you are, knowing the difference between you and someone else, and being like, this is me and this is you, and we're different. Just know. The skunk has this reputation, obviously, for being, the stinky one, but it works. And nobody messes with it because they know what happens. It doesn't have to go around spraying everybody, you know what I mean? But it has that nice little white mark, and you know to look out for it and to stay away. I think that's all it's saying. You don't have to go and show your teeth and scratch people up or anything like that. Alright, 5 swords, 4 shields. Interesting. There's some kind of a thing here about loss, maybe regrets, sadness of some things in the past. With Uranus and Aries, sometimes this can bring up some things. It's in retrograde, so it may really push you to look back and think about all these bad things that happened to you. Maybe things that people said about you. You might be kind of hard on yourself. Maybe thinking about slander or some reputation that was ruined as a result of something somebody said. Yeah, maybe kind of like really harping on yourself, really going on about like, oh, you made this mistake, you had this decision that you made at the wrong time and it didn't pan out for you. Don't linger on that for too long. Obviously it's coming up for a reason because you want to learn from it, but if you keep going on and on about it and it's not helping you, then it's just a pattern. It's like a programming. It's not really there to help you, it's there to put you in some state of mind that it thinks will help you. But being negative and being stuck in this really scary kind of traumatized, triggered way on a routine basis is not good for you in a chemical way, like psychologically, physiologically. You gotta figure out how exactly it's gonna help you, how you can learn from it. If you have something like PTSD, obviously, that's more of like a chemical thing. If it's been long enough, there's not really much you can do without some kind of therapy. Long-term, regular therapy, sometimes even chemical therapy. I recommend checking it out. But either way, don't focus too much on these bad things that have happened. If something comes up this week that brings up that feeling of like, oh man, did I make a mistake? Did I make this decision? Did it go poorly? Is this a catastrophe? Don't hang on to it for so long. These are always opportunities where the universe is pushing you in a different direction and you're hanging on to where you were going. You're hanging on to what it said about you, how it made you this great person or whatever. And realize that this is just an opportunity to redirect that energy that you had, save that enthusiasm, save that energy and motivation to continue on to this new direction, and you'll keep moving, no problems. For the 4 of Shields, I feel like there's some kind of opportunity this week for you where expressing yourself and having these clear boundaries is really going to allow you to have this new kind of a relationship with your friends. Maybe some kind of like a period where people start to really recognize you and say, oh, there you are. That's who you are. And then as a result, almost it's like they welcome you in and it's like you're part of it now. It's like you made it. You've got a circle of friends. You get to have fun. You get this kind of reunion. Maybe there's an actual physical like reunion this week for you. I'd be curious. You can always let me know what happens. But something about having a new circle of friends as a result of this ability to really firmly say, like, this is me and I'm not that. or this is me, this is who I am. I feel like this week is a good time for you to be introspective, to recognize, the gifts that you have, recognize who you are, and use that to get the things that you are trying to get, accomplish your mission, help the people that you're trying to help. So I hope this helps you for the week. Peace.